Hi there, welcome to lesson 5. After this one, we'll be at the halfway stage, so well done if you're here. So for this video, we're going to be doing something really nice, and it's populating the floor plans and making them look just really brought to life, making them look beautiful. And I've touched on the importance of that in previous sessions, so I won't keep banging that drum. So there's a little bit of extra line work there that we could introduce, but we've dealt with that sort of stuff. So now it's bringing in blocks and it's introducing hatches. They're the key aspects of this session. So let's go to furniture. We'll maybe finish on the kitchen and other bits like that. But if we go to furniture, and I won't do every single item of furniture, I'll just do a few to not bore you to death. So let's go on blocks, libraries, and let's type in sofa. They do have these predefined like layouts, but I think for something like this where it's bespoke, I think we just drop things on one by one. So we won't necessarily have the exact sofa there, but we'll try our best. Let's drag it on. And this for me, we've demonstrated how great Rayon is so far, of course we have, but this is where I think it really, for want of a better phrase, shits on the the competition. Because look how quick that is to just drop a really smart block on. When you're in CAD, you've got to build up libraries, go on websites and stuff. Love that this is built in, and the search functionality. This is so important for me. The search functionality is phenomenal. Let's have a look at some other chairs. Just scaling it up to suit the import. Nice copy there. And again, just when you hover over it, you get that rotation option as well as scale. It's just so simple. Dining table. What are we talking here? It's a big one. I've got something here, dining set. Let's see what this looks like. So this is sort of what I was talking about with, let me just get that rotation spot on. Oh. Where you've got like predefined sort of presets. In this instance, I do think this one works well. Look at that. Let's see if we can type in corner sofa. There we go. Happy days. It's as simple as that. There is a vehicle section. We have imported the car previously, haven't we? Let's go for 3 different ones. A little bit of variety. There we go. How good is that? Like the speed of that. Bed. Really, you want to be looking at king size, but let's just drop something on, see how it lands. Just change that to 90 there. Yeah, there's no bedside. I do like to see a bedside table. So again, you can start to see there's little options with like rugs and things. There we go, look at that. Let's get that to 90. So that's good. That sits lovely on the back wall there. Can we then edit that to just drag that under? Look at that. Yeah? Lovely stuff. Then that feels like that's the master suite. So then we can just drop to a more straightforward sort of double bed there. -90. Like so. Copy that across. Superb. Okay. Let's then turn off. We've got hatches here of like, you know, large format tiles, but let's just go through some of the options. So import, let's knock that off. Yeah, just double checking a few things there. I do like there's a bit of a greyish shade as well to the furniture. I do quite like that. There's loads of opportunities here. But anyway, we'll sort of get back to that. So to add hatches, textures and what have you, you use this little zone thing here. If I select that, we've then inserted a zone and it gives you the area. And what I do like is that you can divide up a zone, and look at that little preview it gives you. So I quite like that. I would move that to that line there. Like so, okay? From here, we want to change it to a hatch. You could do texture, by the way. We've covered textures so far, but so you can get that sort of realistic look. But I personally don't like that. I think that going for like realism in a drawing is, I don't think it's the time and the place. Do renders if you want realism. So I prefer to go on hatch and use these patterns. We've got wood, chevron, I'll do like the chevron, brick, stone, so on. Let's go for a nice chevron parquet like that. Let's reduce the opacity to like a nice sort of 25. Could even go lower than that. 15. And then we want to send this transform, or better still, instead of sending it back, let's create a layer. Hatches. What layer are these on? It'll be, ooh, stairs. Let's bring hatches to a lower layer anyway, and there we go. We get the right ordering. But what I want to do really is select all these. There is something for imported blocks. I prefer that. Layer, imported blocks. And then we know there then that the hatches is below that. We could even, you know, be more deliberate than that and put it directly underneath. But that's it. That is it for hatches. If I then just do another zone here, I like that it's remembered the previous sort of settings. I like the opacity, but I want to change it to let's go for like a tile. So you can sort of see that difference. You know, here it feels maybe a little colder. You've got that tile, all that sort of stuff. And then here, maybe we go for a nice hardwood chevron floor, which would feel a little warmer, cozier, and what have you, depending on the look you're going for. And then really the other thing that is nice to do, but it is a little bit time consuming. Just want to remind myself of that style. Building shadow is adding shadows. So here you simply draw a polyline like so, and then for the style, just want to find, there we go, building shadow. I might even edit that to a 15%. That'll obviously affect all that, but that works well. So you've got that. I wonder whether, similar to the trees, what we could do is select those like that. Unblock. Group. And we want the layer to be, so we've got building shadow there. Yeah, that's worked well. Oh, let's pop hatches underneath. And then what I want to do is set them all to building shadow. Done. And there we are. What's the line style for the black? I want that to be black. That's not. It's not quite as prominent as I'd like it to be. But you get the idea anyway. That is a quick way of doing shadows on furniture. Probably be a little bit more intricate on that. And then internally, what I would do is just something like so. Doesn't have to be too accurate. This is a graphical thing. Let me just, didn't quite nail that. Maybe even use the chevron flooring as a bit of a guide. Right. Style, building shadow. And then you can just add that bit of depth to areas where you've got solid wall. Now, strictly speaking, to do that correctly, you would almost put the entire floor plan in shadow and then carve out areas where light would enter. But that's almost, again, almost too realistic in a way. You don't want the whole plan to be in darkness. So a way of just kind of kidding a little bit of depth and a bit of shadow is to just introduce that sort of technique. Now, I wonder whether, yeah, brilliant. So we've got the same sort of angles. I'm choosing to copy that over and then edit the path so that those two are more accurately aligned. Love that. And then another one that I did say I would do for this lesson is, let me make sure I've got the right font. That is massive as well. That's almost too small now. It's just a little bit of setting out. So we've got our perimeter that we can do, like so. But then if you were to elevate this to more of a construction level, what you would want to do is actually set out the position of the door, its location, and then its size, like so. Same here, you would take an external or an internal face, hold shift so it snaps. Can we do multi? Yeah. Go back to dimension. I want to go chained. There we are. Like so. So then we've located that wall there. I mean, what I should have done, sorry. Let's go again. hit escape for done. And then what we're doing is we're setting out walls, openings, and things like that as well. Always just think about how it will be built. You want a starting point, an end point, and any openings. If I just do one more, just to show this. Love that, yeah, that chain is so much nicer. And remember from a previous lesson, all these should really be set out to brick dimensions. Can I just drag that one down? There we go. Look at that. So proper setting out dimensions as well. And I like the way we created it in a chain, but it's allowing us to just offset certain things as well. What I will do, just to not clutter the floor plan, I will just keep to external. Okay, so there's some techniques to populate a floor plan. Let me just repeat some of these steps off camera, and then what we'll do is we'll just do some closing remarks at the end as well. Maybe just a little bit of a recap too. Right, so I've developed the floor plan a little further, adding blocks and that sort of stuff. And it is quite a fun process, to be fair. One thing I've noticed, let's say, we'll just do a few little tweaks to finish us off. One thing I've noticed is the lettering or the word of the room, the wording of the room, the area and what have you. It sits beneath, and that's because it's on a layer that's beneath the blocks. So what you can do is select similar, same type, and let's pop that on annotation. And that should sit above now. Look at that. Spot on. You can then select the zone and change the name. Bedroom. There we are. Love that you can do that. We've got ensuite. And the reason I get excited by that is just ease of selection. And it automatically gives us areas. In other programs, you would have to like draw the room area and then, you know, calculate that like polyline or what have you. So this is slick. Can't argue with that. So that's that. To draw these stairs in, it would just be a line, polyline. I've used a room separator or a zone separator to get the to focus the hatch around that area, and then it is a case of just copying that across like so. So that's just done with line work, is the point I'm making. If I just copy that, yeah, that's pretty spot on, that. That's about as accurate as I've ever guessed a setting out. Just grab that. I prefer to do up consistently rather than up and down. So we've got that. We've then got instances where we've got like cupboards and things. Now, let's just see if we have got a wardrobe. Yeah. Let's just drop that on. So I do like that. Let's do 90. Pop that in there. And then copy it down. You can select them both and then kind of drag like that. Copy across, mirror, bang, right? So that's one way of doing it. But say you just want to be a little bit quicker with it, then what you can revert to is just rectangles and giving them a fill. So we've got this shelving unit, like a side table or what have you when you enter the house, and you can simply just draw that and give it a style with a fill. Simple as that. So that's a quick way of just doing, you know, bits of blocky furniture like so. I haven't ran through bathrooms, it's the same process. Like, so for bathrooms, again, I prefer to do it individual. So we do toilet. Now see the way we've got my blocks here? That's because it's remembering now that I have introduced this into the project already. And I quite like that because we don't want to go too mad with too many different types of blocks and stuff. So flip that like so. So that's how you build a bathroom up. It's the same sort of process. So won't go on too much with that. Another thing as well is if you want to introduce hatches in these outdoor areas, if I just use a simple shape over here, you would introduce a rectangle or a polyline. And then what we would do is, let's just break that style, add a fill, hatch, and then there we go. And I would actually get rid of that outline just so the hatch itself is being represented. 15%. Happy days. And then to finish us off, let's just do the kitchen. So there are a few options. Again, you could go the really simple route of drawing a rectangle and then giving it a fill with line work on this, like so. Could do that, but there are blocks as well. If I just go to, if I just type in kitchen, let's just see what it gives us. Oh, quite like that we've got these kitchen kind of sets as well. That is nice. What's this L-shaped one? So that's quite good, because we can jump into this and edit it. I like that we've got these little cabinets as well. So I'll get rid of that and probably get rid of that. And then let's rotate that. That's not too bad at all. I do like that it greys everything else out as well. If I can then just drag that over. And we'll just keep it proportional, or can we? There we go. Superb. Look at that. So I think that'll do us for that lesson. We've turned our floor plan into something that is really detailed. I think it's looking really pretty now as well in terms of we're using very simple hatches. Again, as I say, I think textures are a bit garish. So we're using very soft shadows and we're using brilliant items of furniture. Love that that's like a single block as well. We're using furniture, really top quality furniture. And yeah, absolutely love these hatches with the shadows, with the coloured wall fills as well. That's shaping up really nicely. Just do a kitchen. What are we saying? Kitchen, dining, living. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed that. I'll catch you in the next one.